trying to get in touch with some of my emotions. And in the artist ministry group writing stories, I wrote another story to express how I was feeling, called Through the Eye of a Shoe. At the top of the highest hill in a village far away lived a shoemaker. He was a very special shoemaker in charge of making all the shoes for the people in that village. This shoemaker spent considerable time and attention in creating just the perfect shoe for each and every member of his village. Each shoe was personally fashioned with the utmost care and creativity. The finished product was then distributed personally, one by one, to the people in the village below. The shoemaker took great care in selecting each individual who would be the recipient of his handiwork. In this village lived a lady who, for the most part, went around barefoot. She liked to stray from the footpath, and she took many detours through swamps and muddy terrain. One day the shoemaker approached her with a beautiful pair of shoes. He had put much love into the fabric of these shoes, and he was giving them to her. As a word of caution, he asked the lady to take good care of them and reminded her that the footpath would be the safest and cleanest path to use her new shoes. For the first few weeks, the lady took great pride in her new shoes. She did just as the shoemaker had commanded. Each day she would walk home on the footpath, and each night would safely tuck her cherished shoes in a special place in her closet. However, as time went on, the lady forgot what the shoemaker told her, and she forgot that the shoes were a gift, and she became careless with them. Her adventures through the swamp seemed to call out to her, and once again she found herself on the footpaths, off the footpaths, and into the unknown but familiar territory. The only trouble, the shoes made the journey cumbersome. No longer did she have the freedom as when she was barefoot. This irritated the lady, but she didn't let that slow her down at all. She just trudged on deeper and deeper into the mud. At night, the lady didn't even bother to wipe the mud and grime from the shoes that had collected on them. She was too tired. She even stopped putting them in their special place in the closet. Wherever they landed when thrown aside is where they stayed until the next day. The more time went on, the dirtier the shoes became. But the lady still wore them. After all, they were comfortable, and not everyone in the village had a pair of shoes. The shoes brought her much desired attention from those around her. The day came, however, when the shoes were so filthy that none of the original color could be seen. It was on a day like every other that someone commented to the lady, "You're not wearing those, are you?" The tone of voice and disgusted look were enough to make the lady rip off the shoes and toss them aside on her way out. The filthy, stained shoes did not stay there for long. The lady had been gone just a few moments when her little boys spotted the shoes. They saw that the shoes had been discarded so haphazardly that they decided it would be okay to play with them for a while. First, they filled the shoes with mud and worms that they had collected for their fishing trip. Only the shoes weren't big enough to keep all of the worms. Some kept escaping, so the boys dumped the worms out and proceeded to put the shoes in the sink. It wasn't long before they were pretending that the shoes were pirate ships. Splash, dip, smash. The boys had the shoes soaking in the water far too long. The inside of the shoes began to peel apart. The boys decided that they could have some more fun, so they tugged and pulled on the inside of the shoe until all of the padding had been removed and stripped bare. Then the boys found scissors and cut up the pads into little pieces and threw them into the sink. The pieces of shoe insole floated very nicely and looked like little fish in the sudsy water. They didn't care how much of a mess they made. The boys always got away with everything and never got into trouble. So without a care, when they were done playing, they threw the shoes into the bottom of the closet, and that is where they stayed for a very long time. One day, the lady found the shoes and tried to put them on again, but having been stripped of their insides, they were no longer comfortable. So the lady, realizing there was no need to keep them, tossed them outside that very moment with other articles of debris meant for the trash. Those shoes, once beautiful in the eyes of the shoemaker, were now stripped bare and stained with filth. It wasn't the fault of the shoes. They'd been at the disposal of those in charge of them. Does the lady have to bear the shame of the damage done to them? No. She carries on as she did before the shoemaker had given her the gift. Do her little boys have to live with the damage that they caused to the shoes? No. They're left free to cause harm and havoc to others, such innocent shoes. They never even think about the damage their actions caused. What of the shoes? Are they to be forever discarded and unwanted? Are they to remain forever filthy and torn, stripped of their essence? Is it possible that someone will find those shoes, someone unlike the second lady who owned them for a short while? She'd found the shoes in a junkyard. Thinking that she could fix them up, she took them home. She tried to wash them with what she had around the house, quickly becoming irritated when they weren't responding to the cleaners she used. When it became evident that it would take more than a few minutes to clean them, she too threw them out with the trash. If there is to be any hope for those shoes to be a glimmer of what was once their purpose and design, it would take someone special, someone with a great deal of patience and kindness, someone who could see beyond the pathetic state of the shoes and see what potential they could be. They would need someone who knows the shoemaker and works closely with him. This someone would realize that the only way to help those shoes would be to return them to the shoemaker. If there is any redeemable quality to them, he would certainly be able to find it and restore them. Still, the shoes are so bad, some may ask if it would even be worth all the effort. To most it wouldn't, but to the shoemaker, it would be worth every moment. I wrote that story about me. I was the pair of shoes. Thanks for listening.